Jim Laudenslugger here for Lauden Golf Adventures. This video is being produced for our lawyer friends that are working with their patents and trademarks to get a little bit better understanding of how important, how useful with the utility of the flight stabilizer is that we just developed. Now, we're the oldest custom shop in the country. 45 years. We've developed a lot of great products. Here's one of our kind of radical products. This is a cylindrical putter that we developed and sold 5,000 of, late 90s. And this is our present one, same size head technology, where all the hitting surfaces of the iron are the same square centimeters. But we're here to talk about the flight stabilizer. When I first developed it, we actually found that there are 4 different diameters. There's 2 diameters in woods and 2 diameters in irons. Let's see if we can see a close-up of this. This is the wood diameters. Okay, so that's a 355 and a 370. So it increases by 15 thousandths. That came popular in about 1988, and it gave more utility to the industry. We'll go into detail that later. And then the woods, same thing. The first wood out was a 335, and the second diameter out was a 350. They did that to decrease the breakage in the tip by about 25%. So when I first developed this, we actually made 4 different flight stabilizers of different diameters, different tapers, and so forth. Now, through further development and research, I've gotten it down to just 2 flight stabilizers, one that can adapt to both diameters of wood and one that adapts to both diameters of irons. So instead of having 4 stabilizers, we're down to 2, and it has some universal function there. Oops. The next thing we want to talk about is the utility of it. There's 5 major advantages to a flight stabilizer. Let's go over here to a oscillator. So most shafts, when you oscillate them, when I say most, 80%, they're put in haphazardly into the howitzer head of the club. And as a result, it does not kick linear. So if you get down on this line here, you can see when I load the shaft, you don't have a linear kick. You have a circular kick, and that sends the ball offline. What you would do with the flight stabilizer is extract this, cut off 7 inches, put the stabilizer on, slides on. We're going to show you the utility of that, doing that. And as a result, now the shaft kicks relatively straight. Not perfectly straight, but it increases the purity of the product by 50%, which means 25% straighter shots to the customer. The next very important point in the stabilizer is where the flex point is in the shaft. Here is a club without a stabilizer in it, and when I bend the shaft, you'll see that the flex point is right about here. That's the apex of where it's bending. When you put a stabilizer in, you're going to see that the apex of the bend now is roughly close to my face. So that heightens the flex point by about 33%. That drives the ball down, gives you 10 extra yards, so you get a penetrating ball flight, a professional ball flight. Now, let's talk about breakage. When you go into a golf shop, there follows back here, there's hundreds and of course millions of shafts that have been broken. Here are some very fine, expensive shafts. This is a $150 shaft that's no longer useful because it's snapped from the tip. Flight stabilizer, you simply slide it on the tip, put it in the club, and you're ready to go. So you're taking a shaft that almost is useless, maybe has a value of $5, and now increasing the performance and value of the shaft to $100 in some cases. So again, that's a great utility. The next thing we want to talk about is what it does to the swing weight. This is what we call blended swing weight. So when you put a little bit heavier piece on the end of the shaft, you're going to have what we call a flow swing weight. So that's going to allow the head and the shaft to be blended versus a 70 gram to a 275 gram, and you have an abrupt swing weight change at the hosel. This blends the weight over the end of the golf club allowing you to have a heavier club that doesn't feel heavier. So this is a D9 swing weight, and it actually feels like a standard D3 swing weight. The D3 swing weight would be down here. That's what we call blended swing weight of a flight stabilizer. The next thing is the radial torque. So most shafts have an average radial torque of about 4.5 degrees. So that means when I hold this club, I can twist the club quite a bit. Now this is clamped down here. There's a machine that tests this, but as you can see, I can twist that golf club. And what happens there is when you have an off-center hit only, that club torques 4 degrees on off-center hit on the toe and 4 degrees on the heel, or high or low on the vertical line, and it sends the ball off 50% further dispersion on off-center hits. Now, if you always hit the sweet spot, it doesn't matter, but probably 90% of all golfers don't hit the sweet spot. Now I'm going to put a flight stabilizer on, and I'm going to take that golf club and try to twist it. You can see I can't even twist it at all. So it reduces the radial torque of a shaft by 50%. So an average 4-degree radial torque on a graphite shaft, when you slide on the stabilizer, it goes down to 2.0 radial torque, and that's almost as perfect as steel. Steel is roughly rated at a 1.5 radial torque. So let's go over these advantages again. First of all, we can take all those clubs and shafts in the world, and there's millions of them in shops like mine, that are broken at the tip, useless except if you want to use it as a shaft extension. All you have to do is take the club, slide the stabilizer on, and you have a brand new shaft. So you're going from a $5 value to sometimes a $100 value. The radial torque is the biggest. That applies to the dispersion of a shot. So all golfers, professionals to beginners, are going to hit off-center hits 50% straighter. Then, of course, we have the breakage factor. When you put that stabilizer down here, where most breakage occurs, you're going to save those shafts from breaking in the long run. Over here was the purity, allowing the shaft to kick straight versus radically in a circular fashion. So you have to have that golf club load and release down the line you're swinging. You know, when you swing a golf club, the club actually loads and releases 8 times. So this club has to go straight up and down at least 8 oscillations on that machine to be called pured. And then we talked about getting the product down to just 2 stabilizers, okay? So that we have 1 stabilizer for irons and 1 stabilizer for woods, allowing both tips to be covered with 1 stabilizer. This is our new display unit, so I want to mention that. This is made out of bullets. We've made that so that when people walk into a golf shop, it's attractive. People say, what the heck is that? And of course the stabilizers sit right on the wings as an ordnance, and they're magnetically in the center of the stabilizer, so you can easily pull it off the display unit, analyze it, describe it, and explain it to the customer. So in conclusion, we have the simplicity, uniqueness of a product that will change the industry worldwide.